You got New England pride, show us. You've got New England pride. Stand up, shout out, show us. You got New England pride, show us. You've got New England pride. New England pride.
Hey kids and kitty cats, Dale LePage here, and it's time for a new episode of New England Pride TV, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host and friend Tina, who's giving you the Vanna White wave right now.
Hi
Vanna
there.
White, yeah. Let's start the show by saying, first of all, thank you for watching. Our numbers are growing. We're in more and more cities. We're getting some great feedback, so thank you so much for supporting the show. Thank you to our sponsors, because without our sponsors, we wouldn't be here, and we'd like to bring you as many inspiring stories and motivational people as we can, so without our sponsors, we couldn't do that, so thank you to our sponsors. We are starting to book interviews for the season 4 of New England Pride TV, if you can believe that.
Yeah, that's great.
We're already booking, so if you know somebody who you think is would be a great guest, whether they have a great story or they're inspirational, please have them reach out to the New England Pride TV Facebook page and send us a private message. That's how we get booked. And don't reach out to me personally. Many people do that because I don't do the booking. We have a team who does that. So don't reach out to me personally, please, and just send a private message to the New England Pride TV Facebook page. And we have to say a big congratulations to one of our sponsors, which is the Hanover Theater for the Performing Arts, because this year they're going to be celebrating their 10th anniversary of A Christmas Carol.
That's so great.
Now, have you ever seen that play?
I haven't.
Okay, I've seen it, and I've gotten to sit like off-center in one of those little boxes. I think they call loge or something. I'm not with the group. And it was wonderful because I got to see backstage when they're setting up the Ghosts of Christmas Past with the ropes and everything.
Oh,
I love
fun.
seeing all the behind-the-scenes stuff. So
Yeah.
congratulations to our sponsors at the Hanover Theater. Now we're going to start off with our Pride Pet segment, right?
Yes.
All right. And this Pride Pet segment, we feature the Buddy Dog Humane Society, located at 151 Boston Post Road in Sudbury, Massachusetts. The mission of Buddy Dog Humane Society is to have, care for, and facilitate the placement of stray, homeless, and unwanted dogs and cats as pets in suitable and loving homes.
And currently, many of the dogs that have found homes through Buddy Dog Humane Society come from rescue groups in Puerto Rico. The island has suffered complete devastation and is without power, water, and necessities. Buddy Dog Humane Society have heard from their 3 rescue partners, All Sado Rescue, Wags to Riches, and Sado Angels, and they are reported safe, but they are desperately in need of our help. Buddy Dog Humane Society will be taking dogs in from Puerto Rico as soon as they can get a flight. Updates will be posted on their website.
If any of our viewers out there do follow me on Facebook, you know that I adopted my dog Willow. She was from Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Yes, and she's doing great. But I did hear from a friend who does live in Puerto Rico that a lot of the stray dogs they didn't make it.
Yeah.
They didn't make it. So we need to get those dogs out of there so they can be
Yes.
adopted, and there's lots of devastation there that needs to be dealt with. But that is terrible, but we're on to a very informative, very entertaining show right here on New England Pride TV, right after this.
New England Pride TV is brought to you by the Hanover Theater for the Performing Arts, Remax Vision, Bay State Savings Bank, Safe Homes, Joseph Gonzalez Dofrain, Boston wedding photographer, Paul Chasen Interior Design, Nuovo Restaurant, Dr. Frank P. Fetchner Plastic Surgery, Fallon Health, The Queen's Cups, This Week in Worcester, Electric Haze, and Escape Games Worcester.
Hello and welcome back to New England Pride TV. I'm here now with our guest, Matthew Francis, who is the author of it. This is your first book, correct?
Yes.
And I love the title, My Resurrected Spirit, Triumph Over Tragedy and Transgender Dignity. Now, first of all, welcome to New England Pride
Thank
TV.
you. Thank you for having me.
You have a show of your own. You have a cable show about.
It's called Diversity Dignified, and it's specific to transgender and transgender-related issues. So.
I recently listened to you on a podcast, and it was a fascinating interview.
Okay.
And that's how I learned about you and your mission.
Okay.
And not only are you an author, but you're a motivational speaker.
Yes.
And you have quite a story to tell. So we're gonna start with, what was your inspiration for putting down your life in this book?
Okay, so I am an orphan in every sense of the word. My parents are alive, but have rejected me at a very young age. So I grew up in that generational poverty and violence, and then consequently would have mental health related issues that are specific to this kind of upbringing. I was in that category of people with severe and persistent mental illness, which basically means you're hopeless, take your meds, collect a check, and don't get into trouble. And I was talking with a doctor one day and telling her that I didn't feel I was doing very much with my life, that I didn't feel good about myself. And at the time, I was still going by my birth name, and I was still Anne. And she said, do you keep a clean home, don't you? And I said, yes, I do. And she said, you pay your bills, don't you? And I said, yes, I do. And what else is there? And it hit me that there was no expectations of me. And I don't know how to explain that feeling, but it was, there was no way I was going to allow that.
You needed a purpose
I needed
and a
meaning.
mission.
I needed meaning, I needed purpose. I needed a reason for getting up. And so I'd been on so many medicines, and I was struggling also with this issue of being transgender, and I didn't even have the language for it. So
what was that like from when you realized that you weren't living your truth?
I felt like a fraud. I felt disingenuine. I felt bad because I hadn't told anyone. This is something it was a secret I kept, and that I was going to take to the grave. I thought this was something, I subscribed to love the sinner, hate the sin. This was a sin in my mind, and it is not. But I thought it was, and so it was my duty in my mind to not tell anyone and to shoulder it. And I would get diagnosed with cancer at the age of 42, the most aggressive cancer on the planet. So after having, I had a port in my chest with 10 months of chemo. And after 10 months of treatment, radiation and chemo and this and that, it's in the book, but there's a very time where I stopped using God sort of as a good luck charm and started getting real. And the irony is I finally got angry, and it was sort of like, why are you doing this to me? What more do you want from me?
Was this during your treatment?
No, this was after.
After
dust
the chemo?
had settled. Yeah, the dust had settled, and I knew I was transgender, but at this time I'm 43. I'm thinking, what's the point? I've never told anyone. My demographics at 43 for someone with severe and persistent mental illness is actually quite old. And I thought, I've got 10 or 15 more years. What's the point? And I really heard the bottom of my heart. I felt very affirmed that I was loved and that I was made this way, and that it was not only okay, but my duty to come forward as a transgender person.
That's beautiful. And so began
the journey of rehabilitating myself, because I lived in a basement apartment, but even more importantly is I had a basement mentality. And so I was somebody who would never come to the table, certainly not as an equal, and to come to the table like, wait a minute, I belong here too. I am a worthwhile human being. I have a place, I have a role, I have something to do. And I thought maybe I can be inspiring to other people, and then even train these professionals who really believe that if you're sick, you're always sick for the rest of your life. And I'm here to push that and challenge that is not true for all people. And if 1 in 3 of us have mental illness and we're all believing that, we're really limiting ourselves. And so being transgender was the first step of being truthful. So that was pivotal. And then the talk show resulted because as I was doing a lot of speaking, I was invited for Transgender Day of Remembrance. Try reading almost 200 names of people who've been killed simply for being who they are.
Who they are.
Just for being who you are. You've done nothing. You've just been an honest human being.
Yep.
And I barely could do it, and I thought this is an emergency of epic proportions. I started Diversity Dignified, and I feel very good about it, and it's gotten a lot of attention, and now it's going to be at PPM TV in Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
Wonderful. I also want to mention you do some motivational speaking. You speak in a lot of churches.
I do.
You're speaking any particular
Denominations.
church denomination?
Yeah.
Is it Unitarian churches? Is it
It's Unitarian Universalists who tend to ask me. However, I have been invited to a Catholic church to give a sermon and a Baptist church. And at the moment, I belong to Maine's only mega church, which is at East Point, and I'm part of men's groups. And it's my contention that we got to stir the hearts of the spiritual people. If we don't
Stir
get,
the hearts.
yeah, we got to stir their hearts. If we don't get them on board, I fear that we will lose this battle ultimately.
One of my favorite stories that you told me before we started filming was, and tell our viewers at home, please. We have very few minutes left, but you went to this one church to speak.
Yes.
And instead of a cross up on the altar, there was
a buck, a picture of a buck, and then the pastor pulls up in a motorcycle with a rifle on his back, and all of a sudden I'm seeing these trucks, like the tires are bigger than I am.
Yeah,
type thing.
yeah.
And they got gun racks, and it turned out we wound up doing a 4-hour men's group afterwards, and they prayed for me and they blessed me, and I really feel bad because I had projected that they were just going to be angry redneck people,
Right,
who are totally going to pray for me because I'm an abomination or some other, but not for my well-being and that my book be successful. They actually prayed that it would be successful, and they were very charismatic people, even in the point of speaking in tongues.
not the response you thought you were going to get at all.
No, actually I was scared. To be honest, I was like, what have I done?
What have I signed myself up for?
Yeah, what have I signed myself for? And it turned out to be one of the best experiences I've had. So.
Now, while our time is winding down, can you please tell our viewers at home where they could
they can get
your
this
book?
simply. You can obviously you can invite me to speak, and then I will bring my books.
And how would they do that? How would
they
get
can
a
go
hold-
on my website, H. Matthew Francis, and there's my contact information. Or you can simply order it on Amazon at the moment.
On
So,
Amazon.
Yes.
Okay, My Resurrected Spirit, Triumph Over Tragedy and Transgender Dignity. Thank you so much for speaking with us today.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
You have a wonderful message, and I hope it is heard by many people.
Thank you so much.
We'll be right back with more. And we're here now with our guest, Tracy Welch, who is from the South Coast LGBTQ Network. Welcome, Tracy.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. Now, first of all, for our viewers at home who do not know about the South Coast Network, tell us what its mission statement is, what it does.
Sure. Well, we formed almost 3 years ago, or a little over 3 years ago, to build and maintain a comprehensive support network for LGBTQ families and individuals of the different age spectrums that we have.
So when you were first forming this group, and you're one of the founders?
I'm one of the people that were part of the founding organizations.
Okay. Are there a lot of people on your team?
Yeah, right now we have 11 organizations in the network that represent the network.
That's fantastic. Now, are they businesses or
Actually, yeah, we have Comcast came on board, if you like. I can, Bristol County DA's office. We have Coastline Fairhaven Counseling on Aging, LGBT Yes, New Bedford Agley, A Perfect Place, South Coast Equality, South Coast Fair Housing, the Women's Center, the Women's Fund of Southeastern Mass, UMass Dartmouth Center for Women, Gender, and Sexuality, WYCA of Southeastern Mass, and Comcast.
It's good that you're giving them a shout out because they're the foundation of your organization.
Thank you.
Now, when I say mission statement of your organization, do you lead people to good therapists? Do you have functions? Tell us what you do.
Sure. So this past year, we were really working hard on a resource guide. So coming up in this March, we'll be having a health fair, providing more information to the LGBTQ community of what's going on. If a doctor says, yes, we're friendly, we're gay friendly,
Yes.
are they really? Can we,
And how do you determine if they are really?
So what we're going to do is we're going to have laptop stations set up and questionnaires for people already set up, almost like a Survey Monkey, where people can go up and say, yes, I've gone here, I feel safe, feel secure.
All the people that come to your health fair are
Correct.
going to be taking this survey.
Correct.
And that's brilliant.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, we're trying to do a more healthy fair. It's going to be an active fair, yoga instructors, gym instructions. So we're trying to do a healthy show for cooking food, as well as a regular health fair.
Now, will this be your first health fair? Have you done one before?
This will be our first health fair.
Be your first health fair. You've obviously gone to them to find out what they're
Correct.
about. But when is yours happening in 2018?
2018 of March is what we're looking for.
Of March.
Yeah.
Okay. And so there will be vendors there,
Correct.
trying to promote their businesses.
Businesses, as well as we're maybe looking to hook up people with gyms, churches, local businesses will come. It's like I said, it's our first one. We're just starting on the ground right now. We've been working on other things throughout the past years. So it's looking good for March right now.
Now, when you founded this, what was your motivation, your personal motivation for this?
Sure. Lipsky Whitaker is two gentlemen that were married and passed away and left a fortune to our community. And through grants and funding, all these organizations were able to get money. Unfortunately, that money is running out.
Okay.
So two women who are entrusted to the foundation, Liz and Bev, said, why don't we try and join forces together? So a group of us got together, and that's how we formed the network.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
I love that.
And we've done several activities and things throughout the few years right now.
I love the community spirit behind this.
Yeah. We actually, our organization took on New Bedford Pride this past year. It was South Coast Equality who was a member of our organization.
Pride used to be called?
New Bedford Pride.
Okay.
And this past year we were changing it over to South Coast Pride. We actually had it in Buttonwood Park. It's the first time Pride in New Bedford has ever been in a park. We had almost 700 people attend.
Oh, that's
all
wonderful. I
and
love hearing this. That's
and it was
absolutely wonderful.
inclusivity. We started with yoga in the morning
Yeah.
with Jeff Costa. We had a wellness walk through New Bedford Wellness. Then we had our Pride from 11 to 4. Kristen Merlin from season 6 of The Voice was our headliner. We had flamethrowers. We had hula hoop artists. We had just people in our community getting together just to have some fun. Kids with blankets, adults and seniors sitting in their chairs, just enjoying the day.
Now, for our viewers at home who aren't familiar with Prides, it's a day of celebration of just love. It's a love fest.
Correct.
And many different cities have them at different times. A lot of them are in June, and I know Worcester Pride is in September.
They just had it.
September. And when is your Pride?
So we kick off June for the first week of June.
Okay, so yours is in June also.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. So we do June, then we do Providence. What is it? Boston, Providence, and then New York Pride.
You do. Will you be doing Worcester next year?
We hope so. We miss it this year. We just started, taking Pride over from South Coast Equality.
Right.
The last couple of years we had it at our local gay bar, La Place in New Bedford.
La Place.
But it's not. It's 21 plus.
Yeah.
So we had to kind of take the realms. The reign was finally given to the network, and we took off with it.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we're
now
excited
more
for
and more communities. I'm myself am learning a lot doing the show. This is a learning experience for me too. And one of the things I recently found out in one of our previous shows from our youth correspondent Nathan, it did not dawn on me that places are 21 plus. The youth had nowhere to go. So he is part of something called Youth Pride. It's the youth culture, and so that might be something New Bedford will be doing soon. Is getting a youth.
I'm glad you mentioned that. One of our organizations that's in the network is NB Agley. We are in Agley in Massachusetts. I'm actually one of the adult advisors. There's 4 of us, and I've been there for 6 years now.
I've heard of Swagley, but what's Agley?
Well, Swagley is part of the Agley organization. There's Swagley, there's Bagley, there's McBagley, there's Sigja on the Cape, which is Cape and Islands Gay Straight Youth Alliance. So together, out of the Bagley organization out of Boston, we formed. So New Bedford Agley, I've been an adult advisor for 6 years now. We help kids 14 to 24 in New Bedford.
Well, see, I'm learning again.
Yep.
I'm learning again. Now, if our viewers at home would like to find out more about your organization and perhaps be a part of it or attend your Pride or find out what you're doing, where can they go to find out more information?
Sure. We are on Facebook. We are on Twitter. As well as we have a website, which is our letters, sclgbtqnetwork.org.
Okay. One of the things that I'd like to point out before we end this interview is Tracy, I reached out to her and asking if she'd like to be a guest on the show, and she immediately responded, yes, I would love it. Is there a cost to be a guest on the show? There's never a cost to be a guest on this show. We want to hear your story. We want to see inspirational people. We want to be motivated. And so if you know somebody you would like to see on this show, just reach out to us on Facebook, on our Facebook page, which is New England Pride TV. So thank you so much for joining us today. And I look forward to coming out to your Pride in June, and maybe you can reciprocate and come to our Pride in September. How's that sound?
Definitely.
An absolute pleasure meeting you.
Thank you so much.
All right, you're doing good work.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. We'll be back with more New England Pride TV right after this. Hey kids, and we're back here on New England Pride TV. I am here with Grace Stevens, who you might recall is our Person of the Year. And this is the beginning of our year-long mission because something crazy is happening next November, and we want people to know about it so they'll be informed. And I'm just going to do this. 1, 2, 3, Grace, go.
Thank you, Dale. Thank you for inviting me. I'd love to give you a little bit of background on what's going on in Massachusetts this year. First of all, I think we can all agree that everyone should be treated equally.
Absolutely.
Right? And here in Massachusetts, we have some non-discrimination laws that have been passed to ensure that all people will be created equally in the eyes of the law. In 2011, gender identity was added to our non-discrimination laws as a protected class of people in the areas of housing, employment, credit, and education. In education, the state has provided guidelines for transgender students, and that has been very successful over the last 5 years, that many schools have many transgender students, and they're just wonderfully assimilated into the population. 1 year ago, on October 1st, 2016, a new law adding protection to the area of public accommodations, which includes movie theaters, restaurants, parks, public transportation, coffee shops, and yes, being able to do something as basic as using the restroom in all of these places became law in Massachusetts. Since this law has taken effect, there have been no incidents of any transgender people creating a problem to anyone in any of these public places. Yet, I'm here to speak today because there's a group of people that for some reasons feel they want to replace this law and have been able to create a ballot question for the 2018 election to seek repeal of the law, which would allow them to discriminate against people who are just living their truth and being their authentic selves and want to be like everyone, just like you and me, to live truly without hiding. So we're here to let people know that we're asking them to support the existing law, which is allow freedom of all of our citizens to live, work, and enjoy their lives in public areas just as each of us wants to do for ourselves. To me, this seems so obvious and so correct, and a real form of love and acceptance that each of us not only desire, but we each deserve. So why would people want to take away our rights?
That is my main question.
It's a great question. For some, they fear for their safety, believing that there is something wrong with transgender people and our goals to live who they are, and they fear that we will attack them in restrooms, which has proven to have no basis in reality. I understand that fear is a terrible taskmaster, and we often are ruled by it, and I truly feel for people who may be afraid of people like me. Yet this fear is no reason to take away my rights or our rights to live as I choose. I hope that you and all the people watching can agree to this. Perhaps some people have a religious belief that we are in some way not behaving or perhaps being the way that their religion teaches them that's the right way to be. My response to this is that religious freedom to me is to protect people from being discriminated against, not the freedom to discriminate against people who are not like you. So what can you do? As I met more and more people, they easily learned that people like me, transgender people, are not all that different than they are. We're just people wanting to live our very best and most authentic lives and be free to do so. I'm certain that everyone has this as their deeper desire, just to be free who they are. We're living through such a difficult time now where separation and divisiveness is rampant.
Absolutely.
Rather than coming together with love and acceptance, which is the only way to make a great society. And if I do say, to be able to make America, America once again. For all the people that wear hats that say, "Make America Great Again," I suggest they may want to get a new hat that says, "Make America Love Again."
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Now, there's a reason that I said on your mark, get set, go, and that's because you're a wonderful speaker, and that was beautifully said.
Thank you.
One thing I do want to add, if we have time, is yesterday I was grocery shopping, and Senator Harriet Chandler walked up to me at the grocery store, and she said, I want to make sure you're aware of the ballot coming up for next year to repeal the protection.
Right.
And I said, not only are we aware, but we're on top of it. And I have Grace Stevens coming in the show tomorrow. And she said, I know who Grace Stevens is. She does wonderful work. So you've got a wonderful reputation.
Thank you, Dale. For anyone out there who would like to find more information or help, I suggest they look up the website of freedommassachusetts.org. And over the year, I know you're going to be interviewing more people to support
We
it.
are. New England Pride TV will be going to First Event and interviewing your very inspirational winners of your
Community
Community
Service
Service Award. Right.
So there'll be Mimi LeMay and Casey Suffrandini, and then later in the year, early next year, you'll be doing Mason Dunn. And I think this is a year-long education that we're doing to make sure people are aware that this ballot question
we have to keep
will be
this
there.
in the we have to I was going to do one show on this, but I'm going to spread it out to make people aware that it's even on. I don't even know how it got to be on the ballot, but
we have work to do, and the work is love and acceptance.
we always have work to do. And speaking of work and hard work, I want to also, while you're here, plug your website, because you are a great motivational speaker. You're the author of books. Why don't you tell our viewers at home where they can purchase your books and find out how to maybe hire you to come to their work or their business or their organization to speak?
Thank you so much, Dale. So you can find me at Live Your Truth, spelled LiveYourTruth.net. And everything's there. Feel free to contact me anytime you want.
And there's a reason you won our Person of the Year. You're inspirational.
Thank you, Dan.
And you've become a friend, so thank you for that too.
Thank you so much.
We'll be back with more New England Pride TV right after this. Sadly, we've come to the close of another episode of New England Pride TV. It was a jam-packed show.
Yes, it was.
So much great information. I learned a lot. Hopefully our viewers
did too.
You learned a lot too.
Yes.
We're going to end the show the way we always do, which is to say, please don't be afraid to shine your light, because
You may be lighting the way for someone in need.
that's right. Until next time, thanks for tuning in to New England Pride TV, and thanks for supporting us. And if you know anybody who would make an interesting guest, have them reach out to us at New England Pride TV's Facebook page. Thank you. Till next time.
Tune in, show us you got New England pride. Show us you've got New England pride. Stand up, shout out, show us you got New England pride. Show us you've got New England pride. New England